Hello class, this is my presentation on the assassination of Fred the Black Messiah Hampton. What is a revolutionary? Well, Chairman Fred Hampton would say that this is someone willing to die and fight for the people and for the cause. In compliance to this, I think that it is one's devotion to advocate for something that has a major impact on society. Fred Hampton was indeed the true definition of a revolutionary. In this speech, I will inform you on the life of Fred Hampton as well as what led to his unfortunate demise. To begin, I would like to start by asking, who exactly was Fred Hampton? Well, let me tell you. Fred Allen Hampton, son of Francis and Iberia Hampton, was born in Argo, Illinois, a southwest suburb of Chicago, on August 30th, 1948. Hampton lived next door to Emmett Till, who was a 14-year-old African-American boy murdered in Mississippi for allegedly whistling at a white woman. Fred grew up on the west side of Chicago in Maywood, where he attended Irving Elementary and went to Proviso East High School. Early on, Hampton showed qualities of leadership. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, publisher Allison Martin stated that Hampton, while in school, led a boycott of homecoming that forced the school to allow African-American girls to compete for homecoming queen. From this, he became the head of the interracial council that handled all racial friction within the school. Furthermore, Hampton held various jobs throughout high school in order to pay for his college tuition. He ended up enrolling in Triton College, where he studied law according to SpartacusEducation.com. Through this time working, Fred noticed that few black teenagers held a job, so he pushed Maywood to fund and begin summer programs. In addition to this, according to Martin, Hampton's efforts were noticed by the West Suburban chapter of the NAACP, and he had Fred begin the chapter's first youth section in the area. After finishing high school in 1966, Fred continued his activism. He took part in several marches. He even marched with Dr. Martin Luther King when he came to Chicago to fight for the equality of African American residents in housing, jobs, and schools. Many white people attended these marches to terrorize the marchers by spitting on them and throwing rocks at them. Seeing such violence left Hampton feeling a little uneasy with Dr. King's nonviolent approach, so he started to sway away from the NAACP and picked up the views of civil rights activist Malcolm X on self-defense, as well as the Black Panther Party movement taking place in California. Hampton was recruited by a member of the Panthers named Bobby Rush, who was starting a Chicago chapter of the Panther movement, and they started an office together. Fred Hampton served as the chairman and Rush deputy minister for the party. Hampton founded the Black Panther Party chapter of Illinois, and it was formed according to the Chicago History Museum's encyclopedia in November of 1968. What did the Black Panther Party represent? The chapter's sole purpose was to stand against racism, capitalism, and police brutality. Hampton began to establish community service programs such as free breakfast for school children and cost-free medical clinics for treatment. Through these programs, Hampton also taught educational classes, and the party also displayed a concentration on firearms for the use of protection. While speaking to a group of students at Wright College, Hampton met a woman by the name of Deborah Johnson. According to an article published by U.S. Sun News, Johnson approached Fred after his speech and introduced herself, telling him how fond she was of his work and message. Afterwards, she wanted to join the activism and take part in the social action. The two, after a while, began dating, and Deborah became pregnant with their first child. One of Hampton's biggest known accomplishments was the formation of the Rainbow Coalition and his enforcement of non-aggression pact of street gangs. According to Spartacus.com, Hampton persuaded the Black Disciple and Peace Stone gangs to stop fighting one another. On May 1969, Hampton held a press conference where he announced the development of the Rainbow Coalition, which was first of its kind. According to an article published by PBS.org, this was the emergence of the alliance between different race and ethnicity groups from other community-based movements. This included Latinos, Blacks, and white communities. J. Edgar Hoover was the head director of the FBI. In 1969, according to the Washington Post, Hoover declared the Black Panthers the greatest threat to the internal security of the country. Hoover then initiated what was called the COINTELPRO operation. This was a series of covert and illegal projects aimed at the surveillance, infiltration, discrediting, and disbandment of domestic political organizations, which included the Black Panther Party. With this operation came into play the use of undercover informants within each organization. One of the informants at the FBI's disposal was William O'Neill. O'Neill served as the chief of security with the Black Panther chapter. O'Neill would go on to tip the FBI off on tons of information regarding Hampton, the organization, as well as the floor plan to his apartment, stated in a Street Roots article by Suzanne Haney. This information would eventually be the pieces needed to establish Hampton's assassination. How was Fred Hampton's murder executed? Well, on December 4th, 1969, at 2337 West Monroe Street, around 5 a.m., Chicago police officers raided the headquarters of Fred Hampton. The officers broke into the apartment while the Panthers were sleeping, and numerous shots were fired throughout the apartment. This raid left Fred Hampton, along with Mark Clark, another known member of the Black Panther Party, dead, as well as 4 others wounded. 7 Panthers, according to Washington Post, were charged with attempted murder, armed violence, and unlawful possession and use of weapons. These charges were eventually dropped due to the insufficient proof that any of the defendants actually fired a weapon at any of the officers. Fred Hampton would leave behind his unborn son, Fred Hampton Jr., along with his widow, Deborah. In conclusion, Fred Hampton, at the age of 21 years old, established one of the most powerful and prominent movements known today. His efforts in bringing people together and his fight against racism led to his untimely death. In this speech, I wish to inform you of the life, legacy, and unjustified killing of Chairman Fred Hampton, and I hope you took something from this speech. Power to the people.